Last week we featured the all-new 2020 Volkswagen Passat. It did not survive our review, as we really obliterated the car for not really being all new, and everything else about it. But this is an all-new midsize sedan, so Volkswagen, take note, when we see all new, this is what we're looking for. Our spotlight is on this 2021 Hyundai Sonata Hybrid Ultimate, and it is all new in this midsize sedan segment. Everything about it is updated. This is a completely new look for the brand. It came out as a 2020 model year, and 2021 is a carryover. It was a short model year for the hybrid. Nothing is new for 2021. MSRP for this has gone up by $100 to $40,199. It's $1,500 more than the regular Sonata Ultimate, so you're getting that hybrid and you're not paying a whole lot for it. And you do lose out on a couple small features. We don't have that remote parking feature that Hyundai demonstrated last year, similar to what we've seen with BMW. You can use the key fob to pull the car in and out of tight parking spots. So with the hybrid, unfortunately, you don't get it. And there is no panoramic sunroof because we have a solar roof. That's right, this vehicle has a solar panel on the top, and it makes a whole lot of sense. In fact, Hyundai says that if you park this outside for about 6 hours every day, you can get up to 1,300 kilometers of free driving over the course of a year. That's not bad. We're going to be testing that and going over everything that we can when it comes to this solar roof. As it sits right now, we're not getting a whole lot of sun on it, but it does help to offset the fuel economy with this car. All hybrids should have this option. Now, as mentioned, this is an all-new Sonata. The design on the outside and inside is completely new, and this is the new design language that Hyundai is going forward with for their sedans. I'm not 100% sold on it yet. I think that it looks nice. I do like the front end. You have these LED daytime running lights that wrap up and then fade into the chrome that runs along the windows. It actually runs from the front of the car all the way along up into the back windows and then loops back around to the front of the A-pillar. It's a very unique design, and the fact that you have a fade for the LED daytime running lights is just really cool. I like that design trait. Personally, I feel that the sports coupe look, which is what Hyundai is going for this, reminds me a little bit of a piece of salmon on the grill. It's a little flat with a big bubble in the middle, but that's just me. But I still think that this is a very interesting sedan in a market that isn't doing so well here in Canada. Hyundai is committed to it by offering this vehicle. And the fact that it has a very good hybrid option is a serious plus. And they have a full suite of safety technology with this, as we would expect at this price point. You have active cruise control, blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, rear cross traffic alert, front and rear parking sensors, and a seriously high quality 360-degree camera. The only real enhanced safety feature we don't see on this is steering evasion assist, which we don't see across the board yet. It's a newer technology that is rolling out, so maybe within a few years we will see it. But for the most part, you're getting what you would expect at this price point from any other consumer-grade vehicle. There's a lot going on with it. Now, there's two things that you don't get, maybe compared to other vehicles. Power folding mirrors don't exist, and the trunk on the back requires the smart key to be at the back of it when the vehicle's locked. We've talked about it before with Hyundai and Kia vehicles. If you're walking behind the vehicle, as I was to get everything set up for this, and you have the key fob, it will think that you want to open it. That could be good if you go to the grocery store, you stand behind the car for 3 seconds, 5 seconds, it will pop open the trunk for you. But if you're not trying to go into the trunk, there really is no way to cancel it aside from moving away from the car. That's the real only bummer on this. Aside from that, though, this is a seriously compelling sedan. But I want to jump inside because it's so different on the inside compared to the previous generation that it really warrants its own segment. It is a bit nippy out today, so we have the car running, and thanks to the solar panel on the top, I can more or less keep this running without having the engine start up because the batteries will charge up. Now, we're not in direct sunlight, so it's not as powerful, but I do like the fact that on the screen it tells me how much charge I'm getting from that solar panel. There we go, the gas is just kicked on. Really cool stuff. We'll talk about that on our road test. But this uses a 2-liter SmartStream inline-4 gas direct injection engine with a 38 kilowatt electric motor. Total system output is 192 horsepower, 271 pound-feet of torque, and it comes with a new and improved 6-speed automatic transmission that Hyundai says will shift smoother than their previous generation. Now, on the regular Sonata, you have an 8-speed automatic transmission and similar horsepower numbers depending on which engine you go with, but the torque is better on this electric. It's a front-wheel drive car, that makes sense. there isn't anything new about that. But how about this interior? I mean, I've driven a number of Sonatas. I probably drove the 14 to the 2017 one after another, and I always liked the interior. They were really nice, even at the mid-trim level. You didn't have to go full out, and it was still a nice experience. But this Ultimate here shows us what Hyundai is willing to do when it comes to their sedans on the inside. It uses their new 10.25-inch infotainment system, one of the best systems we've seen on the market. I mean, it was already really good before, and now that it's bigger with more information, it just takes it up another level. It has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, HD radio, everything that you would expect. You also have a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster with all the information that we saw on the Palisade, but with that added hybrid information. So while I'm driving along, I can see if the gas engine is charging the battery or driving the wheels, and how much charge I'm getting from that solar panel. Awesome stuff going on there. Front seats have heat and ventilation. Rear seats have 2 outboard heat options. Heated steering wheel, dual zone automatic climate control with a driver only mode, which is a nice thing to have on a hybrid. We also have leather seats on here. That excellent 360-degree camera system is probably one of the best in the segment, and also a color head-up display. So you pretty much have what you would want and need at this price point. A couple extra goodies include a 64-color ambient lighting system, wireless phone charging, and good interior dimensions. In fact, the headroom on this is better, mostly because there is no sunroof on this, but in terms of front legroom, it is better than the Honda Accord, Chevrolet Malibu, and the Volkswagen Passat that we just featured. The rear headroom is the same as the Passat, but you do lose out on rear legroom. It is smaller in this segment compared to those other vehicles, so backseat space might not be as spacious, but overall, this is very good when it comes to a mid-size sedan. You have a slightly larger trunk over the Passat and the Malibu, but the Honda Accord is a little bit bigger than this. So depending on what you're going for with your vehicle, you should be pretty good. This is a seriously nice interior. Again, it shows us what Hyundai is willing to do and what they can do with a vehicle and still keep that price pretty affordable. But let's take it on the road now. We'll talk about how that hybrid system works and everything else you need to know about the 2021 Hyundai Sonata Hybrid Ultimate. If you're buying a hybrid, chances are fuel economy will be top priority for you, which is why it's important that we go over that information right off the start. We did this in our 100-kilometer test loop in 4.5 liters per 100 kilometers. MPGs are below in the little title card. Pretty good for a mid-size sedan. Now, unfortunately, we haven't driven any other mid-size sedans that are straight-up hybrids. We've done a number of plug-in hybrids, but none of them were just regular hybrids, so I don't have any good numbers to compare it to. However, the other two vehicles that are close enough that we can talk about would have been the 2019 Honda Insight. Now that's a compact sedan, so it's a little bit smaller. It did our test loop in 4.4 liters per 100 kilometers, so a little bit better. It's a smaller car, that makes sense. And then we also did the 2019 Honda Clarity several times last year, and that vehicle is a plug-in hybrid. It's an extended range plug-in hybrid, not comparable with this, but when we took it out for our second week, we did not plug it in. We used it as a regular hybrid electric vehicle to see what would happen if you just couldn't charge the vehicle at all. And it actually did it in 3.8 liters per 100 kilometers. So much more efficient with that. The battery can get charged up more. The thing with the hybrid Sonata here is you're pretty limited. It's less than a 2 kilowatt hour battery pack on here, and you don't have any control over it. Unlike the Honda Insight that actually did have an EV only mode, with this, there isn't any, and that's typical across the board when it comes to any hybrid vehicles. You just don't get it, so that's fine. You can get pretty decent fuel economy with this, and if you're doing it in town, you'll get better. That's the whole point of a vehicle like this. You get slightly better in-city fuel economy. Driving on the highway, you will charge it up, and that solar panel on top can make a difference. That's a small number. You're not going to be getting oodles of power as you're driving along, but the fact that it's there is a plus. Is it adding to the cost of the vehicle? I mean, you tell me. This is a pretty affordable car. It's not $5,000 more for the hybrid like we've seen with some vehicles. $1,500 more, okay, you lose out on a couple features, but for the most part, it makes sense. So having that solar panel is good. During the winter months, maybe not so much. Having to park it outside if you're living in a place that has extreme heat or extreme cold might not be fun, but when you can use it, it's there. And the fact that I can see it on my screen, both on the gauge cluster computer and the infotainment system, allows me to see how much we're doing for both. An example, I can go into the settings for the infotainment system. There's a specific hybrid mode. I can click on that and see, first of all, exactly what's going on. I can see how much I'm getting from the sun in terms of a percentage. It's basically broken down into 1/6. So right now we're getting about 66% of the capacity from that solar panel. It is cloudy, it's overcast today, a little bit brighter than it was this morning when we filmed the A-roll, the outside stuff that we did. So, I mean, you're getting some, but you can actually see the solar roof information. This car has 5,000 kilometers on it, and it says that we've gotten 22,532 watt hours of power off of it. Now, a watt hour, 1,000 of them, makes 1 kilowatt. Makes sense. So we've gotten 22 kilowatts out of this solar roof. That's just from the solar roof, not including the regen braking, so not bad overall. That's nice. It's a free power source. It's renewable energy in a car. If you think back, I want to say 2018, 2019, at least here in Canada, Toyota was advertising on both the Toyota website and their Lexus website that they had self-charging hybrids. I think it was a little misleading. It was trying to trick consumers, as plug-in hybrid technology was really starting to pick up with a lot more vehicles being offered, and Toyota Lexus didn't really have anything at the time. They wanted to let consumers know that you didn't have to plug in because your car was self-charging. But to the average consumer, self-charging means it's just like a plug-in hybrid, but it's going to self-charge. You don't have to worry about it. So you can see where it can be a little misleading. This car is actually self-charging. You could leave it out outside and there have enough sun to be able to charge it up. You could get the battery charged up without actually having to use it. So unlike every other hybrid, where as you use the car you gain battery and you can lose battery and whatnot, theoretically you can have better fuel economy if you leave this outside long enough to charge up. You couldn't run this exclusively electric with the small battery pack on here unless you're absolutely just driving it like 20 feet from where you're parked and you go really slow so that gas motor doesn't turn on. You'll never exclusively be in EV mode. But still, I mean, every little bit helps. And when I see the negativity about this, there was one article, I won't cite the source, but they're a tech company that was reporting on this. They said that it's a bad idea because you're never going to get anything out of it. It's so small. But every little bit helps. So what's the problem? I think it's good. Now, when it comes to the rest of the car, it shows you what Hyundai is willing to do with their vehicles. The inside here, really nice. I love the way this looks. Simple and forward-facing at the same time. They're not loading you up with buttons. They're not loading it up with too many displays that distract. Yes, you have two large displays that provide quite a bit of information, but I focus on that color HUD. It's got a good size to it, but everything else is comfortable. Space in here is good. Sound insulation is excellent as well. It's one thing that we noted when we were driving the 2020 Volkswagen Passat before. I just found that the highway road noise on it was really awful. On this, it's noticeably better. And then when it comes to the rest of the drive, ride, and feel, I mean, it's a solid sedan on the road. It's not quite as smooth on rougher roads as the Passat was, but when you're on nice, smooth road, this is fantastic. It's a really nice ride. And look, there's one right there. I don't see these too often, and that's the whole point of driving a car like this. Because it's so new, there aren't a lot of them out there. Now, I know that the design might put some buyers off, but I kind of have to give credit to Hyundai for doing something different. They have the chance to make a splash in the industry by providing consumers an option, a choice, something that is a little bit more radical without being too radical. I mean, look at the back of the car. That nice, large, full-size LED light bar on the back is a nice touch. But instead of getting really wacky with it and putting crazy badges and trying to upmarket the fact that this is a hybrid, it's just got a little Helvetica font print on the back that says hybrid. That's nice. They're not trying hard. They're trying exactly what they need to do with this car. They want to make it as livable for people on a daily basis as possible. They don't want to make it too crazy, and I'm still getting used to the look of it, but it is growing on me. But you get the features that you want, you have the price that really matters in this segment, and the fact that the hybrid isn't that much more makes this a very compelling case against some of the other straight up mid-size hybrids out there. The engine on this is also a good option. I don't find that it's underpowered for what you're getting out of it. I've been driving it exclusively in eco mode, which is the way that you should be driving a hybrid. I don't know why you'd have it in sport mode, but the option is there should you need it. But I've kept it in eco mode. I even enjoy having the driver only HVAC system on, since I'm the only one in the car. Might as well save again a little bit on fuel economy. I know it might not impact me on this 1 week that I have this car, but if you buy this, you're driving this 20-30,000 kilometers every single year, that will add up. You will see fuel savings because the HVAC isn't running all the time, and you've got the solar panel on the roof, and everything else about it goes into your bottom line long term. So why are you going to be choosing this 2021 Hyundai Sonata Hybrid over the competition, or maybe over other vehicles in this price point? Well, as I mentioned, the interior design here is very good. The ride, comfort, and overall drive of this vehicle is what you would expect from a midsize sedan at this price point. Hyundai and Kia both have shown us over the last several years that they are committed to building quality vehicles with the features that people want without stripping things out and cheapening it out and making the price point work. This is a really nice sedan. The hybrid is a plus, especially in a market like this that is dwindling in North America. There are less sedans available in 2020, 2021 than there were last year, and I assume it will continue. But the fact that this is all new and gives a fresh take on it is a plus. You might not like the look of it, but at least on the inside, everything makes sense. It's a little bit more conservative in here. It might appeal to more people. The benefit is when you're driving it, you don't have to see it. So if you think the outside is ugly, then don't worry. Just make sure that you're driving it all the time. There really isn't anything overly negative about this vehicle. As I mentioned, there are a couple features that are either missing or slightly different from the competition, along with the rear seat space there. It's a little bit smaller than you would get from some of the other mid-size sedans, but there isn't anything that's a red flag to me when it comes to this vehicle. Hyundai has nailed it when it comes to this generation Sonata. It shows us again that this is the car company to be watching. Somehow the Koreans have gone from essentially last place in terms of how the vehicles are built, the quality, the tech and everything, pretty much right to the top in just a matter of years. If you're not considering the 2021 Hyundai Sonata for your next vehicle, if you think because it's Korean or whatever it may be, you're not going to consider this if you're in the market, then you are doing yourself a serious disservice, because this is probably one of the best cars you can buy today.